Yes, I was in advertising sales. Traditionally, I was in print media, selling advertising in magazines and in newspapers. When I arranged to interview at SPAS, I dived into the SPAS social media and I actually watched their series of Path to Success. I watched Roberto, I watched Danny Abraham, I watched Robbie's, and it was just great watching their journey and just seeing the success that they've done. I was watching Danny's and he had his by his pool and he's got this lovely house. I thought, that looks like just the house that I want to live in. I actually sent it over to my brother and over to my wife as well. I said, look, these are the reasons why I want to do it. No one had mentioned a SPAS to me about this training. I can now say, having now gone through that training, that the training here is absolutely fantastic. I can't imagine what else could have been brought to it that would have better prepared me for the role that lay ahead.
Run us through the first deal that you had.
So my first deal, it came actually through...
Hello and welcome to the first episode of the First Deal Files. Today we will be joined by Richard. Richard left a 24-year media career behind to embark on an exciting journey into Dubai real estate. Within 5 weeks, Richard closed his first deal. Tune in to hear what the reality of the first few weeks are like in Dubai real estate. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you, Lucas.
Give us a bit of background on yourself and your career and essentially why you decided to make that change.
So, as you said there in the introduction, yeah, I'm a media guy by trade. Went into media directly from university and was enjoying the game. I was back in the UK. I was working in moved my way up to national press and working for the Daily Express and the Mail on Sunday, and then moved over to Dubai to continue that media career. And it just got to a point towards the end of last year where I really fancied a change. And what kind of motivated that, I suppose, really was having a little boy a couple of years ago, and then kind of looked at it and I thought, as well as things are going, in the next 10 years, can I see myself being in a potential position to retire and, you know, secure my little boy's future? And I didn't feel that the media game was going to give that to me. And I felt that if I moved to real estate and if I was successful in real estate, then it really has that, you know, that opportunity to catapult myself, you know, financially, to set myself up for my future. And that was really why I made the change.
So in media, were you in the sales side of media or?
Yep, that's right. I was. Yes, I was in advertising sales. So traditionally I was in print media, selling advertising in magazines and in newspapers. And then with the digital revolution, started selling advertising online, and also progressed into e-commerce as well. And that's really been my background in media.
Okay. And what was it then? Obviously, you said about the family there and being able to set your little boy up. What else behind that decision motivated you to change the career and take that jump? Because going from, obviously, you've been in the industry for a while, so it would have been quite a healthy package you're on. What is it that gave you the motivation to go, do you know what? This is going to be it.
I think for me, I feel like I was getting to a stage in media where I was in it because I felt like I was good at it. But I wasn't enjoying my day to day. And I'm a guy that gets quite obsessive when I'm enjoying something. And I felt that with real estate, it's something that I'm passionate about. Everything that I've done in media, in terms of everything I've earned, it was to reinvest into property in the UK. So I have a property portfolio. Me and my wife have a property portfolio in the UK. So it's something that I'm very, very familiar with. So it didn't feel like a leap of faith, as it were, because I felt quite clued up on property in a different market.
Yeah.
And I know people that have done very well in real estate. I know people that haven't done so well in real estate. And I just thought, why can't I be one of the guys that did do well in real estate? And if I am one of those guys, you know, the rewards are endless, you know? And if I'm completely honest with you, when I decided I wanted to leave media, my first thought was to be a recruitment consultant.
Okay.
Because I felt that my skill sets from media lended well to that role.
Yeah.
And I went and I spoke to a few of my friends. A couple of my friends run their own recruitment firms, and a few senior consultants that I know. And I spoke with a few of those guys, and I sat down with a good friend of mine and his CEO, and they actually specialize in recruiting for real estate firms. And as we were talking, my friend's CEO said, "Have you ever thought about real estate?" If I'm being honest, I thought to myself, no, I don't know if this is really going to be for me. I'm not too sure. And then when I went away and had a really good think about it, I thought about the money potential, I sat down over Christmas and sat down with the wife. I thought, I can do this. I can do this. And if I do it well, I'm going to look back. I'm going to look back and think, what a damn good move that was. And yeah, that's what kind of made me think, right, let's go for it.
I think it's fair to say with great risk comes great reward.
Absolutely.
And it's one of those industries where that truly does matter.
Yeah.
So let's just run through your entry into real estate then. So obviously you're in a SPAS now. Was there any other companies that you were potentially speaking to prior? What is it that stood out to you about a SPAS compared to some of the other companies?
So I've got a few friends that work in real estate currently. Some of them work at some boutique companies. So we had a few chats with a few of my friends in the game.
Mhm.
And what came back was actually a competitor of a SPAS. They said that this particular real estate brokerage were synonymous with having good training for new brokers. I thought, right, okay, well, that sounds like a good place to start, maybe build a career. And I went and had a conversation with them. It didn't actually work out. When I had to sit down with an interview, and they came back and said they were going in a different direction. And I have to say now, being at a SPAS, I'm very happy about that. So what kind of drew me to a SPAS is funny because one of the leading brokers here, Roberto, I used to play football with him many, many moons ago, maybe 15, 16 years ago. And I actually also used to play, if you like, a kind of unofficial SPAS football team. So some of the brokers aren't here now, and we had the owner, Peter Calamari was our goalkeeper. We had Roberto, and I used to play with another guy called Sammy, and a few other guys who used to work here. So SPAS has always been a name that's been, synonymous in my brain when I think of real estate. So I gave Roberto a call, had a chat with Roberto, and anyone knows Roberto is a very bubbly, enthusiastic guy. And the fact that he, after all these years was at a SPAS, still enjoying it, still had the same enthusiasm from what I remembered from way back when, it really kind of cemented for me that this is going to be the right place. So when I arranged to interview at a SPAS, I dived into the SPAS social media, and I actually watched they have a series of Path to Success.
Yeah.
So I sat down and I thought, oh, this would be interesting. And it was some of the senior brokers talking about their journeys, and I just found it fascinating. So I watched Roberto, I watched Danny Abraham, I watched Robbie's. And it was just great watching their journeys and seeing their development, And these are guys that I think a couple of the guys have been in Dubai less time than me, and just seeing the success that they've done. And if I'm honest, I remember watching Danny's, and he had his pool, and he's got this lovely house. I thought, that looks like just the house that I want to live in. And I thought, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that really kind of, and I actually sent it over to my brother and over to my wife as well. I said, look at these. These are the reasons why I want to do it. And it just reinforced it. And it was really authentic.
Yeah.
You could tell it was their genuine journey. And and it was. I think it was Danny that said he was very close to calling it a day. I even remember it now. I think he said he was on holiday in Sri Lanka, and he was a week or two away from calling it a day. And while he was on holiday in Sri Lanka, a deal came in. And I just thought that it just shows that just,
it can change over.
Yeah, like that. 1 minute you could be doing something else, a deal comes in, and boom, look where you are now, further down the line. So no, I really, really studied the Path to Success, and it was an added incentive for me to know that this was the place that I want to join. Then I ended up coming in for an interview, and I was sitting up on the 27th floor, and I turned up early. I always like to turn up early so I can kind of, just suss out the real feel behind the office, not what you hear in the interview, just kind of get a real feel, from afar. So I was sitting in reception, looking in through onto the sales floor. And I just thought, yeah, I can see that the vibe suits me. I can see that people left and right of me are going to be people that I'm going to get on with. So I had a good vibe for it even before the interview. And then sitting down and having the interview process, I knew it was going to be a right fit. And it's proven to be the case.
Felt like home.
Yeah, it really did. It really did.
In the first few weeks then, obviously the first few weeks are definitely the most daunting for a lot of people. How did you find the first few weeks? Excited? Were you slightly scared, unsettled at times?
I think I had mentally prepared myself for the opening period.
Yeah.
So like you said, I've been in Dubai quite a while. I've been in Dubai 17 years. I know a lot of people that have been in real estate. I know people that run their own real estate companies here. So I really canvassed before I made the move. I really, really had good chats everywhere. So I felt quite well prepared. And what a lot of people said was, look, the first 6 or 8 months are going to be tough. But once you get through that, you can really start building your career. So mentally, I felt quite prepared. And I think luckily, because I'd been here for quite a while, I'd managed to set myself up sort of financially where I felt quite secure. So I knew that I wouldn't be, desperate to do a deal. Of course I am, professionally, but I knew financially I wasn't desperate to do a deal. So I didn't have those financial pressures on me in terms of having to do a deal. And mentally, like I say, I was prepared. So one of the biggest surprises for me was the fact that I've enjoyed the early period, because I thought it's just going to be a struggle. Just get through it. You're going to get through the other side, then you're going to love it. But I've started loving it early. I really have started loving it early, and
which is rare.
Yeah,
most people, until you get that first deal through, it's a mentally tough job to be in at the start.
Yeah,
it's understanding the confidence that you need in yourself to be able to go, this will work out.
Yeah, absolutely, and being resilient, and having tough days, but coming back and bouncing back, and just having that. If I have a tough day, I just dust off the shoulders. I'm like, next day we go again, because even in my early periods here, I could be having a terrible day, and it could be the very last phone call that I make somebody at 7:30 at night that just turns the entire day on its head. And that's, I suppose, the ups and downs of real estate. But I've really loved it. And I suppose another reason why I've loved it, which I suppose makes me maybe potentially different from maybe other early starters in real estate, is because I've been here quite a while. There's a lot of people I've met along the way, being in Dubai this amount of time. And what real estate's done, it's allowed me that opportunity to reconnect with them. So I've been really sort of heavy on my social media since I've been here. And since I started posting on my Instagram, people that I've not spoken to in 10 years, like good friends that have just fallen out of touch through time and starting families and getting married and whatnot, that get back in touch. Rich, I didn't realise you're in real estate. Oh, Rich, I've been looking to look at myself, what you look at. Rich, do you mind if I pop over and come and see this weekend? Rich, my parents want to move to Dubai. Could you offer any advice? Great friends. And it's just been great reconnecting with them again, and just being like, oh my God, this is like old times again from when I arrived there as a fresh, young, single man with all those hopes and dreams. So it's been great. I've really, really enjoyed reconnecting with people.
And I think it's definitely fair to say you started the social media thing with an absolute bang. I remember day one, the first video came out, it came up on my page, and I was like, right,
yeah,
this is going to be a very interesting journey. But on that note, obviously, your social media has definitely helped you in the first few weeks. On the training program side of things, how did you find the training program from start to finish?
I really, really enjoyed it. So when I was thinking about where to go, like I said, the reason why I'd interviewed at different places is because somebody told me that the training there was very, very good. And when I spoke with Roberto prior to coming, the first question I asked him was, what's the training like? And he said, no, it's a very, very good training program. So I was infused that I was coming to someone with a good training program. And then having gone through it, I really couldn't have managed it being any better, personally. And I sat down with yourself, and I sat down with Daniela as well. And I can't imagine it being any better, because it really covered all the bases for me. You got to understand the fundamentals.
Yeah.
It went into the psychology. The bits that I really, really enjoyed myself were listening to the experience of other people in the game. So, yourself, you were talking about the stuff that things you've done well, things that didn't go well for you, understanding the emotions you went behind your first deal at the age that you did it, and hearing those experiences. And I really kind of felt, when I went onto the floor, obviously you feel nervous, but I felt ready. Yeah. And there are a few curveballs, you yourself, a few curveballs that you threw along the way on training, with, things like the cold calling and getting on the phone during training. It's all stuff that I've all done before in my sales career, but obviously I'm now doing it in a new industry.
Yeah.
And the training, it 100% prepared that for you. And by the time I went in, at the start of the second week and sat at the desk, I was ready to go. Do you know what I mean? Of course, I knew there was a hell of a lot to learn, but I was ready to pick up the telephone. And that's the most important part.
Was there anything in the training that sort of stood out to you, the pivotal moment of, okay, I know I've made the right choice now?
Yeah, for me, it was understanding the journeys that other brokers have gone through.
Yeah.
And for me, the other thing that was big was actually a segment that you took, Lucas, on cold calling, because I think I didn't really have a fear of it, because I've done a lot of cold calling in the media game, but it was that's a lot of fear that a lot of people have in real estate. You've got to pick up the phone to people, and they may not be wanting to talk to you that particular time. And obviously, you went through with us styles and techniques and how to approach that. And it was how smooth and confident you were with it. And I just thought, Joe, that comes with time, right?
Yeah.
And I was looking at you then and thinking, this guy's pretty slick, it's pretty smooth. But I just thought, that's come with time, that's come with time, time and repetition and, hearing those objections, over the years. And eventually, you find your way to navigate that, right? And
I think that's the main thing. It's not necessarily giving you a script and follow the script. It's understanding the structure, like I said. Understand the structure, find your style, find your way of things,
yeah,
and then make it your own.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And I really kind of felt as well that with me, I felt kind of suited to where I'm not a guy that's shy. I'm not shy of talking to people. And I just felt that this feels like an industry whereby people want to identify with someone that they trust.
Yeah.
And I feel like hopefully there's a lot of people in this country that like me. And I feel like that has kind of already given me a kind of a leg up, because people have learned to know me outside of real estate. So they know Richard, well, their name is Richard, the media guy, or Richard, the father. So I've got that level of trust from a lot of people, I would hope, in the country already. So I feel like I'm bringing that into real estate, rather than it being the other way around. So I feel I think that's why as well, while I've enjoyed the opening start, because I've had people having that trust in me and wanted me to now advise on their investment choices.
Run us through the first deal that you had, how that came about, and just run us through A to Z.
Yeah.
Everything that was going through your head from start to finish of that deal.
Yeah, no, sure. So my first deal, it came actually through, I suppose through networking and social media and me kind of talking a lot about what I do. So before I came into real estate, the weeks leading up to it, everyone was sort of questioning me, why are you doing it? And, you're mad and, you're doing this in media. So I was really out there telling everybody why I was doing it and the reason for it, and the fact I was looking after an area called Emaar South and why I believed in Emaar South. And then I obviously put that first foot forward in terms of getting out there in social media and letting everybody know I've made the switch and this is the area that I do. And the first deal actually come from a friend of mine who he had an Iranian landlord who is an investor in Dubai. And my friend reached out to me and said, listen, look, my landlord's always looking for investment opportunities.
Yeah.
I like the sound of what you've said about Emaar South. Emaar South sounds like a great opportunity. He knows Emaar South because he's been to mine for barbecues and things like that. Would you mind meeting with him? Could you meet with him? I said, absolutely. Absolutely. I said, bring him over to Emaar South and I'll give him the tour. And anyone that knows me know I love giving people a tour of Emaar South. I like to make anyone and everybody that knows me needs to know about Emaar South, because I feel like there's such a massive opportunity. So he came over, he brought him over, put them both in my car, and I gave him the tour around Emaar South and what I believed it to be a fantastic investment opportunity, and gave him comparables. And within 3 days, he'd come back and he'd put an offer. Put an offer in on the property without him seeing it. He'd seen the building, but hadn't been inside, and he put an offer in. And it felt fantastic, because it just felt that's come from me just shouting from the rooftops about Emaar South. Because
I think the passion behind Emaar South and you, like you say, you live there yourself, so you have got a lot of passion behind it. And I think that does speak volumes when it comes to being able to sell to people.
Yeah.
If you're passionate about what it is that you're selling, you will be able to sell 10 times more than anyone else.
Yeah.
And I think the authenticity behind that definitely shown. So obviously you've got the offer in. Like we all know, if it was just the offer and the deal was closed, this job would be amazing.
Yeah.
So excitement's come in from that first offer. Talk to us about after the offer, sort of any hiccups you may have faced along the way.
Yeah. So this is another reason why I've enjoyed the journey at Espace, because the offer comes in and it's not just, what do I do? Because the support network's there.
Yeah.
I've got you there to lean on, which I did lean on. I've had you at the end of the phone there at 11 o'clock at night. Lucas, are you still up? Bouncing off you. And I've got my direct manager, Alan, that I can speak to as well. So the offer's come in. It came in under asking price. So there's the first difficulty. It came in under asking, and it was just having that support there to be able to bounce off somebody who's got the experience of negotiating offers. Obviously, I've got experience of negotiating deals, but not in this industry when people are negotiating their own personal money. I'm used to negotiating marketing budgets, completely separate. You've got that separation. There's not your money, it's a company's money. So had that support there to bounce ideas off you, and ideas about how to approach it from a buyer and seller perspective. So that was fantastic, and it just gave me the tools there to then go and do the job.
Yeah.
And to have the right conversations with buyer, the right conversations with seller, and then over a period of a few days, we managed to navigate ourselves up to full asking. But then the journey didn't stop there, because even once we then got to asking, you then have to. It's not as easy as get to asking price and then the seller accepting.
Shake hands.
Yeah,
Call it a day.
yeah. You've got other brokerages that will be trying to jump in and tell them that we can get you more than asking. So it's securing that and making sure that you get it over the line and signed. And again, having that support to bounce off the likes of yourself and other senior brokers around was absolutely invaluable. Invaluable, because you don't feel on your own at any stage of the journey.
Good.
And that's important. That's important. And I think that's what it is. You just feel like there's nobody here in this company. There's nothing that I was going to come up against. There's somebody within this company can't answer for me. And that's what's fantastic.
So when you got that first deal signed, contract signed, tell me how you felt.
Felt fantastic. It did feel fantastic. But if I'm being honest, and I don't know if this is a bit sad or whatever, I just immediately thought to myself, I've got to get the next one. I've got to get the next one, because in fact, it might have been, just because I knew you can't lose momentum.
Yeah.
And it's funny because maybe a week or two before I did that deal, I was sitting in the Leeds meeting and I was talking with another one of our senior brokers here, Monica, and she was talking about her journey, and it really, really resonated with me. She said she'd done her deal. I think she'd done her deal with the first 5 or 6 weeks as well.
Mm.
And she said her second deal didn't come for another 8 months or so after that, because she said she didn't have the right processes in place to build that momentum. So it really, really resonated with me, that. And I really thought to myself, right, okay, that's done. What's next? So the day I did that deal, I was actually in the office till I think maybe 9 o'clock that night, just thinking, right, because I really wanted to build on it and think, right, when can I get the next one? Can I get the next one over the line in the following weeks or two? So
always
I felt
momentum.
Yeah, I felt excited. I was over the moon. I felt that relief. I really, really did. But honestly, I just kept going. I've just kept going, because I know that you're only as good as the last one, right? And it's one of those, and I know this is an industry, it's with any sales job, but particularly in this industry, if you slow down and you're not constantly cultivating your pipeline, I can imagine things can dry up quite quickly.
Very quickly. I think that's the mistake a lot of new joiners make. You get the first deal win, and yes, you need to be excited about that, because it's a massive achievement. It reinforces to yourself that you can now do this.
Yeah.
But then don't take too much time celebrating the wins, because that next deal has to come in.
Yeah.
The deals, once they're signed, it doesn't mean you're going to get paid straight away.
Yeah.
Like we know, mortgage to mortgage, we're talking up to 3 months' time. So it's in that timeline, what else is bubbling, what else is brewing. I think a lot of people after their first deal, me, myself, I can happily say that was me. I did mine in the first 3 weeks, took my foot off the gas completely. And this is why I reinforce it to everyone. Once that first deal is done, fantastic.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Go and have a celebration tonight. Tomorrow, we start fresh. We start again, build that pipeline and go.
Yeah.
Is there anything in this job that you didn't expect?
I suppose that maybe I didn't. Well, like I said before, I didn't expect to be enjoying it at this stage.
Yeah.
So that's a positive. I genuinely didn't. I thought it's just gonna be a case of, listen, just put the hard yards in now and reap the rewards in the second half of your first year. So that was a surprise, to be enjoying it at this stage. And I'm really enjoying it. And when you're enjoying something where the day flies by. The day absolutely flies by, and you get to the end of the day like, I need to do more. I haven't done enough. There's not enough. And this, you have to have that balance between, keeping the wife happy and wanted to get on.
I think it's a hard job to do that, because like we say, it's a 24/7 job.
Yeah.
The likes of even you calling me at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Real estate is running 24/7, and time kills deals, like we know.
Yeah.
So it's being able to try and find that family balance, home balance, but also the reality of someone else is going to be working if you're not working.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose another thing that I found surprised me here, again, is a positive, to be honest, is not only the support of the training, but just the other support that you get. So I went straight at it with the social media, and I felt the reason why I launched my social media was because I needed to let everybody know that I've met along the time, you know, over nearly 2 decades here, that this is now what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I felt like if I just randomly started talking about real estate, it'd be like, what's going on here? So
From media to property.
yeah, exactly. So I thought I needed to introduce the facts as to, you know, the reason why I was transitioning. And what I loved here is I posted this video and it just got loads of support from other brokers in the company. DMD, John Lyons reposted on his story. Several other brokers reposted my journey on their story. And I thought that level of support is just fantastic. And then I started getting ads and follows from other senior individuals within the industry, adding and following people that I hadn't met before. I thought this is brilliant. You know, again, it's just that support and that you're part of a family now. You know, you're part of a SPAS now. So you're in. So we're going to give you that backing and that support and that promotion, which I just wasn't expecting at all. Was not expecting at all. Not until I, you know, you'd gone out and sort of proven myself. You know, I was in here 2 weeks in, getting on my social media. I was getting this support, and it was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
What would you say the biggest challenge has been so far?
Got to keep going. Got to keep going. Look, I'm a naturally positive person. I'm a naturally sort of person that I hope everyone thinks I come in with, you know, with a smile on my face and always want to have, you know, chew the fat and, you know, have a bit of banter and take the mick and whatnot. And the challenge is I don't, but it can do. You don't take anything personal. Don't take anything personal, you know, and it's just about bouncing back and coming back the next day. And that's the challenge, because it is exhausting.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. It's mentally and emotionally exhausting. I'm a guy that likes to keep fit, but you know, real estate is a different type of exhaustion.
Completely out the window as soon as you start real estate.
Yeah. And even that, I suppose that's been a challenge as well, actually, because having to navigate that, you know, I'm a guy that's, you know, that trains religiously every morning. And it's, you know, I'm still training, but I've it's been harder in these first early months because I've been knackered. I've been knackered because just sort of mentally I've been quite tired, and I've had a chat with myself over the last couple of weeks and just been like, right, no, let's get back to where I am in terms of, you know, get my training back on point. And I feel like I'm back ready to do that now because I feel a lot more settled in the role now. Every week I feel like I've learned something new. That's another fantastic thing about making the move is learning something new every day. Learning something completely new every day. Every conversation you're learning from, other people's conversations you're learning from, listen to other senior brokers on the phone. It's fantastic. It's particularly when you're listening to difficult conversations that people are having. I just put the phone down, I'm just earwigging because I think this is brilliant. This is something I'm going to come up against sometime down the line.
Take a piece of everybody's pie.
Yeah, absolutely. And then mold it and do it in my way. So that's what's been challenging and exciting.
So if someone's thinking about making the move moving to Dubai for real estate, but hopefully with SPAS, what advice would you give them?
I think, number one, you have to, it may sound silly, but you have to 100% want to do the job. Have to 100% want to do the job. Because I feel like it's similar to training in the way that if you don't set your goal and have your end goal in mind, I could see real estate being something that would be very easy to quit and walk away from because there are so many hurdles.
I think that's quite a big thing in the industry, though. A lot of companies do get heaps of brokers in every month, but the reality is after the first month, the second month, they're left with next to no brokers left.
Yeah. Because maybe, I mean, everyone's got their different sort of circumstances, but maybe some of them, I'm sure it's financial, but I think for some of them, didn't love it enough. And for me, I feel like because I had a genuine passion for property, that's kept me going. It's kept me going on any difficult days because the reason why I'm in this game is I own property in the UK that are doing well. But they don't have that explosive growth that people that have invested in property in Dubai. So I sat down with my wife at the back end of last year and said, right, look, I know you think we're moving back to the UK. We're not.
Bet that went down well.
Look what's gone on here. Look what we can do in Dubai. Let's start reinvesting and putting our money into investing in property in Dubai. And if I'm going to be investing in property in Dubai, I want to be in that industry because it moves so quickly and I want to be in it and at the forefront of it and understand it. And I also want to invest where I live because we love Emaar South. We've been living there for 3 years. I understand the community well. I know it's going to appreciate fantastically well for what I've seen on other communities similar in the past. So having that drive and having that opportunity to work with a brokerage that I knew, an award-winning brokerage in a territory that I know and love, with the support network, I knew it was going to be a home run for me. I knew it was going to be a home run. So I don't have those, yes, I have tough days, but my end goal's already set.
Yeah.
You know, I know why I'm in it. I'm in it because goal number one, earn some good money. Goal number two, invest in property and email South myself. So it doesn't matter if you have a bad day, because every bad day is more knowledge.
Yeah.
And that knowledge is gonna bear fruit for when I come to invest in email South myself. So it's been quite, dare I say, relatively easy for me to keep myself motivated because I know where I'm going. So sorry, I've got a roundabout way of saying,
Right.
if, what advice would I give to anybody that's coming in? Know where you want to be, know where you want to be at the end of your journey, and keep that in focus. That's number one. And then number two, no one had mentioned Espas to me about his training prior to, and that's why when I interview somewhere else, I can now say, having now gone through that training, that the training here is absolutely fantastic. And I can't imagine what else could have been brought to it that would have better prepared me for the role that lay ahead. So yeah, know your goals and be rest assured, take it from me, that the training is second to none. Second to none.
And let's say that someone's watching who's maybe 2 weeks into their career in real estate. They're starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed with the rejection, things not falling into place, offers falling through. What would you say to them?
You've got to keep going. You've got to keep going. Yes, I did a first deal in 5 weeks, but there were loads of ups and downs along the way. You know, I felt I was going to do a deal in my first 2 weeks. I felt absolutely sure that something was going to have run. It fell by the wayside. But you just never know. I know it's a cliche, but you just never know what that next phone call is going to unearth, or you never know what your next social media post, what the responses are going to be to what that could unearth. Because it's so true. You know, every time I post something on social media, something positive comes back, whether it be someone wanting to come for a viewing, whether it be somebody wanting more information, whether it be someone wanting to understand more about Emaar South. You just got to have that consistency. And I can see already that if you have consistent processes, I don't see how it can fail. I think there could be different timelines.
Yeah, massively.
But I just don't see how eventually, if you can survive financially, I don't see how it can fail. As long as you have the right processes and you're doing them monotonously, religiously, I just don't see how it can fail, because proof's in the pudding. Proof's in the pudding. I've sat down and I've probably wound people up, sitting there and just chewing people's ears. And I've sat with Roberta countless times about how you've done it. You've been in the game 17, 18, how do you? And it's all about routine.
Yeah.
They do the same things, the same right things over and over again. And it's worked for them.
But also the power of just one more.
Yeah, just one more. Just keep going. And, it's that thing about some people look at real estate and think, yeah, look, a lot of people fall by the wayside, but it does work out for some people. It works out for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Why can't that be me? Why can't it be me? In fact, I've just got that mentality where I'm just going to make, damn sure it is going to be me. If it's down to my endeavor, if it's my endeavor that's going to get me there, that's not going to be the thing that stops me, because I'm going to make sure that my endeavor is just at 100%. And I just know that from seeing people that be successful in this game, I just know endeavor and processes are going to work. Alongside support and training, it can't fail. That's how I feel today. On the job 3 months in, I just can't see how effort, processes, surrounded by the right team, it can't fail.
And I think it's fair to say that it will be you. So,
Thank you.
Richard, thank you very much.
Thank you. Very much enjoyed it.
Thank you for watching the first Deal Files, and tune in for more episodes.